You guys are going to introduce everybody, right?
Oh yeah, because we're live right now.
All right. I'm gonna stop.
All right, so YouTube, as you can see, we got a full house here. So we're gonna start with some introductions, and there's gonna be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, this is probably the last place you should be because there's gonna be spoilers all over the fucking place. But that aside, I guess maybe
the dog couldn't wait.
Yes.
He's like, no, introduce me first.
My dog's an idiot, so I apologize.
Dog just
Probably
wants to be
something that has set them off.
no, I haven't.
Shut up.
Scooby-Doo late. Wow.
All right.
Wow, it worked actually.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Shut up. And then
blowing things at them.
Perfect. Oh my God.
Nah, it makes it more exciting.
Okay.
Good question.
Go ahead.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Anyways, yes, no. I guess I'm gonna just start from. I'm just gonna start from my right because I am right-handed. Sam, you want to go first? Introduce yourself. Tell these people who you are, what you're about.
Yeah, absolutely. So my code name is SEL0320. I'm representing JVS. Yesterday we had a great time with the discussion for Wonder Woman Part 1 with a lot of other YouTubers. Today is the Part 2. I definitely do reactions, reviews, open discussions, we do live events. I've collaborated with all these different people here that have amazing channels. Definitely check out their content in the description bar below. I can't wait to talk about Wonder Woman because it was freaking epic.
And Keaton, you wanna go next?
I'm really good friends with Sam. Me and him have been friends since we were like 3, and he's been trying to get me in on one of these discussions because I love comic books, I love movies, and he's been begging me to do this, and I'm finally just now getting free after the last decade or so to actually be able to join in. So happy to be here.
Yeah, huge shout out to this guy. He just got married like not too long ago. So shout out to Keith, by the way.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. And Mr. Dragon, can you go next? Let the people know who you are.
In any other world, that would be highly unacceptable. Well, actually, no. That's besides the point. Sorry. What up, everybody? My name is Aka-san, the Reddit one over here in Japan. Just hanging out with a bunch of reactors I have seen through TWD reactions and such. And I thought that Sam was white. Apparently is not. So this is all surprising to me now. Other than that, happy to be here and very ready to talk about Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Awesome. And Aman, you want to go next?
I'm also not wearing women's clothing, by the way, for anybody that wanted to know. It's not a blouse. It's the Joker Suicide Squad shirt. I just need to throw that out. Sorry.
I think it's a blouse.
Me is yeah, I'll go. Yes, so I'm Iman, your Iman Snow. I feel like I have not posted a video in a long time, and I haven't done a live discussion, so I'm like feel like I'm just some random person on here. But I do YouTube videos sometimes, never scheduled. But please go to my channel so you can kind of be surprised. Because yeah, I'm surprised too whenever I post. So I do reaction videos, reviews, sometimes skits, and I like to do, thankfully, I've been involved in these discussions for a while now with JVS and Jor-Els, and it's been very fun. So let's talk.
AKA known as the crying girl. Yes.
Yeah.
On TDW.
Yeah, I'm the one, I cry a lot. I might cry in this live discussion, so be prepared for that.
That is my new goal.
It might be because of Aka-san, so just.
You know what? I do have that effect on women when they first time they just start crying.
That doesn't surprise me.
All right. Well, thanks. Thanks, Clay. Anna, you want to go next?
Hi, Amanda Barbe. I'm the second half of, there's two of us usually on our show. It's Comic Books and Cocktails. I usually do the show with my best friend Danny. I believe he was on discussion last night. I hadn't gotten a chance to see the film yet. I just saw the film, like I just got home 20 minutes ago. So that is the channel that I'm involved with. And we do discussions, reactions. We try to post every Wednesday. My computer's now dinging at me. We try to post every Wednesday since that's new comic book day. We like to, so usually our newer episodes go up every Wednesday. So that's me. I am going to turn off.
Oh yeah, hey little girl in the back.
Oh, and that's my daughter Francesca, and she has decided she has to be the center of. She sees the camera on, and so oh god, I've got to be in front of the camera. So yes, I apologize in advance for my child and my dogs. Okay, you're done. Stop it. If I throw something at her, just it'll be an apron.
Discipline.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty lit if you did that.
It's a Wonder Woman apron though, so
Nice.
it'd still be in theme with the video. So
All right, so let's see here. So I guess we could go from left to right this time, starting with you again, Anna. What were your general thoughts of the film when you left it, and what were some of your predictions about the film going into it?
I really didn't know what to expect going into it because I mean it's kind of been touch and go with the DC universe as a whole. I'd heard nothing but great stuff from everyone else that had seen it, so I was anticipating something great. And it was just it was a superhero film that I think we've been waiting for a really long time. It was just a solid superhero film. So that was my impression leaving the theater. So.
Okay. And what about you, Aman? What were your sort of initial thoughts going into the film, and forgetting the question. Oh, what were your initial thoughts leaving the film, and then your predictions going into the film?
I mean, I did not know what to expect. I didn't have mixed feelings. I had a good idea it would be a good movie. I just didn't know how they would pull it off and how it would come together. But the cast was really great, so I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with the cast ever. Leaving the movie, I did tear up twice. What a surprise! I know, but it was a really good movie. I think we'll get to the negatives, but overall, I had a good time with it, and I mean, it was just really beautiful visually too. Not only are there beautiful women, but it's just the whole thing, how it was filmed. It was really beautiful. So I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. And I guess before I forget, I mean, for me going into the film, I actually had extraordinarily low expectations, even despite the rave reviews. Just because Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, I thought were really, really disappointing. There were scenes that I loved, but I was really, I just thought they were really flawed. So I didn't expect much going in, and when I came out, I thought it was pretty fantastic actually. So that was a huge shock, but we'll get more into that in a bit. But Akasan, what about you?
So I guess I always feel very odd about this one, man. Someone once told me that for some reason, when they put up all the reactor profiles a long time ago, they were like, Akasan's pure sole mission is to disagree and have the opposite opinion of things that are universally loved by all. And so that being said, Wonder Woman was the most anticipated movie of the year for me, the one I was looking forward to the most, and I was hoping that it wasn't going to be bad. I actually enjoyed Suicide Squad, hated BVS, so I was very mixed on the DCEU from the beginning, and I wasn't expecting much out of Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, then we started getting the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, and everybody suddenly the critics started really loving it, and then it started hitting that epidemic TDK level. That's when I started hearing whispers that it was just as good as The Dark Knight. And I'm like, shut up, no. And I go in there expecting something that is as compelling as The Dark Knight, and unfortunately I didn't really get that. Putting that aside, I still thought the movie was good, but had a lot of small factors that kept it from being a great movie. I think for me and a lot of people out there, just the fact that it didn't outright suck made it a great movie in a lot of people's minds. When you compare what has come through the DCEU for a long time now, the fact that it just wasn't, you weren't pulling your hair out in, frustrations, that's what made Wonder Woman really good for a lot of people. But for me, taking that away, I still enjoyed it, but there were notable things that I I would have liked to have seen, and I hope that in the future that it'll get a little bit better.
Okay, gotcha. And we'll begin to the negatives, not too far away from now, but Keaton, what about you?
I went into it with a little bit of a low bar, because with the DC extended universe so far, they always manage to either screw up part A, part B, or part C and stick at least maybe one of those. And so after Suicide Squad did not stick the landing, I was kind of paranoid going into it, because I love Wonder Woman and I was really excited about a movie starring like a female superhero. What's the last one? Catwoman, Halle Berry. And so
The Force Awakens.
Yeah. okay, I'll give you that. But
Rogue
I was
One.
really hoping they were gonna.
Halle Berry Catwoman was, oh god, that movie was terrible. Sorry, go ahead.
I know. We can all have a moment of silence if we need it. Yeah. But I went into it with kind of a low bar, but I was pleasantly surprised when DC didn't screw up. I thought they wrapped it kind of fast, but you're right. We'll get to the negatives later. I was happy coming out of it.
And Sam, the man who has done, I think, about 100 reviews for Wonder Woman. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I legit probably have done that many. For me, the spoiler review that I did yesterday, I went back to the very first trailer that you and me did, Jor-El, back when we were in San Diego for Comic-Con. And I remember where we were mentally and emotionally then. It's like, we're hopeful, but we can't put our faith in it. You know what I'm saying? Suicide Squad really, truly let us down in different ways, I think, for both of us personally. But as the trailer started going, I was like, okay, they're not revealing anything. They're not showing me the villain. Okay, all right, this could be actually pretty good. This could be what I wanted from Captain America 1, So going in, I was hoping for the best, but I really had very low expectations. And when I walked out of the film, I'm a lover of comic book films in general. Just as long as they stick to the mythos and actually have some symbolicism, some action, and giving something, to the DC community and the Marvel community in the genre in itself, I was like, I'd be actually okay with it. And when I watched the film, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. I was really surprised how well they were able to stick the landing, like what Keaton was saying. But more than that, I think I was more surprised with how many people were clapping. And every single one of the times I've actually watched the film, at least 3 times I've seen this film, every single time, the moments that I clapped and enjoyed it, everybody around me did that. And I think being a DCEU fan, that's been something that's hard to do. Honestly, if I enjoyed Man of Steel, people would give me flack for liking or maybe, suggesting that BVS might be okay because they hated certain things. And so it's like, I'm able to now enjoy, a DC movie for the first time with everybody. It's watching little kids get excited for this film. So for me, I was not only excited that the movie was good, but that everybody was enjoying it. I think that's the outtake that I came coming out of the film every time I watched it.
Okay. And I guess from right to left, so starting with you again, my right anyway, but starting with you, Sam, again. So what was your favorite action sequence or moment in the film? I don't know if did I have a favorite action moment? maybe oh shit, yeah, there was one scene actually with the sniper, and I think it was Chris Pine and his little team or gang. They had like some kind of piece of debris, and Wonder Woman ran and jumped off it and just like literally just took out this entire like clock tower with the sniper. That was amazing, actually. That might have actually been my favorite action moment. But what about you, Sam?
Yeah, I think for me, the anticipation of when the theme. Well, some people are kind of like divisive with that. Like some people say that the score when the no man's land moment happened was kind of off kilter. I think for me, they built it up very well when she was starting to notice how much destruction and death and suffering. So it built up to that moment. She was walking up, and then finally clambered over the ladder and just held the shield there. I was like, this is an epic moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt the vulnerability that she had as much as the empowerment that she knew that she wanted to protect people. But it wasn't that moment that I felt was the best action. I think after the moment she made it through was when like she really started to barrel through people and just go in. I think that the slow-mo was a kind of bit, overused, but I thought that every moment when they were firing at her and she was just flinging people through, I thought that those were really epic action moments that kind of rivaled what I wanted for Captain America 1. Like when Captain America 1, I wanted those kind of action moments. I didn't get that, but I got it with this movie.
Okay, gotcha. And Keaton, what about you? What was your favorite action moment or action sequence in the film?
Honestly, I think my favorite action sequence was when they are in London and all the German spies kind of close in on Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, and he's like, "Get behind me." And when the bullets start flying, she jumps out and she's blocking the bullets and everything. And I think the reason I enjoyed it so much was that first moment where I felt, okay, from here on out, it's going to be different. From here on out, this is the part where people realize, like, he's not the one that saves the day. She is. And even, like, I thought even his reaction was really good. Even the men getting beat up were like, what in the world is going on? It's not him. Like, I thought it was really well done the way they made sure to have her step out and be the one that kind of took control of that whole battle.
Okay. And Akasan, what about you?
My favorite moment, I suppose my favorite moment, or favorite action moment, like you guys mentioned, I know everybody talks about the no man land situation, but as you already mentioned, I felt that the score actually dropped the ball on that particular moment because I was waiting for it. They were building it. They were really trying, like the whole costume reveal, like, okay, this is it. This is the moment. But I felt like the score didn't complement the scene that we were seeing at that moment. So I didn't really like that so much. I think a lot of people kind of forgot about it, but it was actually the Amazon when the were those Nazis or Germans or somebody, like whoever was invading the shores and the Amazons were actually fighting it out. That was a huge battle that I think a lot of people actually tend to forget, that there was a lot of stuff going on in there. There were horses in there. You started seeing all the Amazonian training against people with guns, and they still held their own. And I thought that was actually the most involving fight scene, and everybody had a little part of everything in there. So I would have to say that was probably the best scene, because I thought a lot of other stuff sort of got overplayed with, as already previous mentioned, the slow motion. I liked some of the scenes, but as a complete fight scene, sometimes it kind of dropped off a bit.
Okay, gotcha. I can see that. Aman, what about you?
I actually agree. I have two favorite fight scenes, which was the first fight scene on the beach. Is just the way it looked, the way they filmed it. And Robin Wright, I believe, I don't know her name in the movie, her character's name, but she's so beautiful. Anyways, she just, the scene where she jumps up over the rock, and then she turns around and shoots those three guys with the arrows, that was awesome. Like, I was like getting chills. So that whole sequence on the beach was amazing. And then at the end, when Wonder Woman went Super Saiyan, after got pissed off and just went through everyone. That scene was really cool because you could see her like full potential of like her power. And I was like, wow, so she's very strong. Like she's got all this inside of her. So I don't know, hopefully we get to see more of that in other movies.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch her name in the film. I was just saying, I was just like Claire Underwood's just kicking ass. It was amazing. Anna, what about the? Oh yeah, Jenny kicking ass.
Yeah.
Literally. But Anna, what about you?
Iman and I actually have very much the same favorite scenes. I like at the beginning watching all of the Amazons kind of just close in on these guys because, you know, they see a bunch of girls coming at them. Oh, you know, and then these girls are just literally doing flips around them, killing them with sharp things and not, you know, pew pew things. And then, of course, pew pew pew. But then at the end, when she realizes she's not just, you know, an Amazon, she's a goddess. She has this power, and at that moment she could have very easily decided, you know, of course she wasn't going to decide to go with Ares, but she realizes at that moment, I have all of this power, and she uses it to, you know, to destroy him. And it's awesome just seeing that look on her face when the cuffs start to, you know, electrify, and she's like, holy crap, I can actually beat him. And so, yeah, that was definitely awesome. But yeah, both of those, the ensemble fight scene was great. And then her individual, just her reaction, that scene was awesome.
I'm kind of curious, what's your daughter? What did she pick up out of that with all the different action scenes? What did she like the most from all that?
What did you like most about the act? Come here. Here.
Get over here.
You actually get to talk. Come here. I have a question.
Yes. We want to know what the future generation of DC comic book fans all want to know. What did you think was the best fight scene?
What was your favorite fight scene of all the fight scenes in the movie? What was your favorite one that you were paying attention to and not begging me for popcorn during? Which one was your favorite fight scene of all of them?
The one where she was blocking all the bullets.
The one where she's blocking all the bullets when she was
with her
walking.
shield.
Oh, when she was walking across when those the soldiers of no man's land.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
But I think it's
was,
for her too because she's so young, and that was the first moment where she got to see Wonder Woman as Wonder Woman in the film with the shield. Yeah, she thinks I'm Wonder Woman. So she kept asking me throughout the film. She kept asking me throughout the film when I was going to teach her how to do all that stuff. I was like, but I think for her, seeing that shield and seeing the sword and seeing Wonder Woman as Wonder Woman, that first moment for her as a child, that was a real big deal for her.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so switching again. So I'll start with you again, Anna. I actually switched up one of your questions, Sam. I'm curious what you guys think about Gal Gadot. Is it Gadot?
Gadot.
Is it? Oh, okay. I thought the T was emphasized. But Anna, or for everyone, but Anna, what did you think about her performance and the criticism of her playing the role prior to, you know, the film coming out?
I'll admit that, like, even before Batman vs. Superman and everything, for all that, I was one of the people who wasn't crazy about her casting just because I didn't feel like she was, you know, all I saw was this waifish, you know, model type. But I was definitely wrong about that because she is Wonder Woman. She, you know, she may not, you know, be Linda Carter. She may not have, but she's this generation's Wonder Woman, and I feel like she took the role and really did the role honor. And so, yeah, my computer's being stupid. I feel like I was definitely wrong in my initial opinion of her because I was one of those people at the beginning who was like, she's going to be terrible. And she was anything but terrible. She was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I never really had strong criticism when she was casted. Because to me, I thought she looked at the part. I thought she was really small, but like physicality wise, but I always thought that she looked at the part. So I was never really bothered by her casting personally. I never cared.
That was the problem. Is I think everybody kind of had Lucy Lawless, and that's what we were kind of expecting.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes.
Like Cena. Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
And no, I thought she killed it as a part. I'm not saying that what she did was exceptional. I don't think it was terrible either, but I think it's better than like it was passable. Like I thought she did a really good job personally. One moment in particular was when Robin Wright's character dies on that beach, and Gal's emotional response to that I thought was actually really good and convincing.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, she's I think she's
I agree with you there. I was like, oh yeah, no, I was exactly. I was like, wow, she actually can act a little bit. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I thought she did a great job. This whole thing about like, because I know like someone like John Campea, you know, he's criticized her really heavily prior to seeing the film, like based on her past, like, oh, she can't act. To me, she never did enough in her filmography to suggest that she was a bad actress. To me personally,
I agree.
But so I didn't really understand his viewpoint there. Fantastic reviewer and just personality, John Campea. But Aman, what about your thoughts on that?
I didn't have strong opinions either going in. I'm not like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not a big DC fan. I do like DC comics or the cartoons and stuff like that. Like I grew up watching all of the cartoons and for both Marvel and DC. But I haven't seen like Batman versus Superman, which I know I need to get on that. But it's been like, he's like, well, you don't.
I mean, I don't think you miss much personally, okay. But yeah.
All right. Let's not get killed here.
But the one thing I want to point out really quick with Aman is the fact that she's not the first person to say that to me. The person I went to go see Wonder Woman with, they were like, yeah, I didn't see Batman v Superman. I'm like, okay, let me sum it up for you. Wonder Woman jumps down, blocks something from Doomsday. The end. That's all you need to really know about the highlight of BVS. So you didn't miss much going into Wonder Woman. So, but that's an interesting thing with the people that went to go see Wonder Woman didn't necessarily see BVS.
Yeah, BVS. I mean, the only thing you missed was Doomsday, really quirky Eisenberg Lex, and a bare ass Ben Affleck for 2 seconds, and that's
I pass on that. And on the bare ass Ben Affleck, I don't need to see that. But I enjoyed her acting. There were some parts that were kind of took me out of it, like at the end when Steve died. Spoilers. When she screamed at first, that scream kind of made me like, and then she was crying, and I was like, oh yeah, I know that was really sad. But I think she had a lot. Like she not only is she beautiful, I think she has something, like she has this charisma about her. And yeah, like I agree with Anna that she is Wonder Woman. I see her as that, and she's not like she's tall. She's like 5'10". She's not like a little skinny thing either. But yeah, I think I did. Lucy Lawless, that's the name? Xena. I did see that too, I guess. Like, but I think I don't know. She has like compassion that I enjoyed as well. So she's soft but strong, and so yeah.
Okay. And I know, Akasan, you mentioned the sequence I was talking about before. So was that the one you were going to go with as like your favorite acting moment with Gal, and you thought she did pretty good?
Oh, favorite? I don't know. That's hard to say. I'd say... so when Gal was first cast, I remember there was one photo floating around of Sucker Punch If you guys don't know that movie, it's a movie that was directed by Zack Snyder. Has a lot of scrawny girls doing anime-ish scenes, fighting, overpowered, basically. But basically, the weight doesn't really define the amount of their power. And somebody went ahead and photoshopped Gal into that photo, and I was like, well, it kind of makes sense in Snyder's world. This makes sense of what Wonder Woman would look like. Yes, would I have wanted something like Lucy Lawless or a few other kind of like stronger looking women that would look like they could handle themselves? Yeah, I probably would have, and in some points I still do, because that's the Wonder Woman I grew up with a strong aggressive side to her. And in animated version, comic version, almost every version, even there's been this like kind of more aggression. Gal plays a very naive, passive type of girl that may not be exactly the idea of Amazon, but I think it suits her personality the same way Ben Affleck sort of played someone that didn't know what was going on in Girl Next Door, or Gone Girl. It's kind of like the script was written in a way that matched Gal's personality, that she didn't really actually have to show so much acting chops, so to speak. Iman is exactly right. Like, sometimes there are faults in her performance that show up on camera. When right before she went Super Saiyan, it was a little comical more than it was like, oh my god, I can feel her pain, basically. But I hope that in time she'll really grow into the role, get a little more comfortable into the role as Wonder Woman, and we can just enjoy it. Because at the same time, the thing I was reminding myself was the fact that I didn't necessarily think that Chris Evans was that good as Captain America in the beginning, but as once I started seeing him in Civil War, I think it wasn't really until Civil War that I started seeing, like, you know what, this is finally the Steve Rogers I've always kind of imagined, like the strong leader type of thing. So sometimes it takes time for a lot of these people to grow into these roles. The same thing with Cavill as playing Superman. A lot of people would say he doesn't really have that image of Superman, but at the same time, the story is kind of a growth of getting to that point where you will really see it. So I don't personally see it right now. I think it's okay. I think she played it safe, but in time, who knows where it'll be when we get to the final point of Justice. Like, I think she's doing a better job as Wonder Woman in Justice League so far, as from what I've seen in the trailers, than what I saw in Wonder Woman, because it was an origin story. So, but favorite acting scene, probably where they were on the boat talking about sleeping with each other. I thought that was actually really hilarious. Gal's timing, her chemistry, like their chemistry worked really well, and her lines, the way she delivers them, worked really, really well. The same way where when she's talking with Ben Affleck in the Justice League trailer about Aquaman turning them down and such, those kind of lines work really well for her, and that's what that was my favorite scene from the movie in terms of Gal's performance.
Yeah, that scene was amazing. I was like, Jesus Christ, what's going on with Volume 12? But Keaton, what about you?
Well, I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I'd never really gotten a chance to see her in any major roles. The only movies I had seen with her in it, I believe, were the Fast and Furious movies that she was in. And so when she got cast as the role, I was a little bit skeptical, because I was thinking that they would probably try and go with someone with a little bit more of a resume, but I liked her character in those movies. So I went into it with an open mind, but at the same time, I was really scared of, because this is Zack Snyder's universe, I didn't know how he was going to portray the Amazonian women. Like, were they going to, because there's such a wide spectrum, like it could have been Ambassador from Themyscira versus Death by Snoo Snoo. And and so
Yep.
I was really happy that they went middle ground. They went middle ground with it. I was surprised when she I feel like she wasn't aggressive enough. Like the Wonder Woman I know is,
Yep.
I really don't care what you say
Yep.
or think or do. Like I grew up watching the Justice League cartoon
There you go.
on Cartoon Network. And so I'm sitting here thinking, oh, Wonder Woman, whatever Steve Trevor says, I ain't got time for that. I'm about to go do this. And I was surprised that she really listened to him at all. So I agree that I feel like when they wrote the movie, they wrote it around Gal. They kind of wrote it around her, and I'm interested to see where they go with it, because at the end of the movie, it's kind of like once Steve Trevor is gone, is that the Wonder Woman that we see in BVS? Because she was barely in it enough to even get a taste of what kind of character she was. But I thought Gal did a really good job. If I had to pick a standout acting moment in the movie, I thought she did a really good job when they were in the discussion room full of men, and he steps forward and she's like, "What is wrong with you people?" And they all looking at her like, "Who is this woman?" And she stands her ground, and I thought she did a really good job. I thought it was very well done.
Okay, cool. And Sam, how many times have you seen this film? Like 4 times? 3 times?
I saw it at the fan screening. I saw it at the general press screening, and then I saw it in IMAX for my 3rd time. So I've seen the movie 3 times now.
Jesus. But yeah, I am really curious what I haven't really heard what you thought specifically about Gal's performance or the criticism before or when she was initially casted.
So let's see how I can tackle this. I think that she played her role for this movie perfectly. What I mean by that, the perception of this is you got a woman that grew up not spoiled, but privileged and sheltered, and grew up to wanting to be something more, but not had no real understanding of how deadly, how messed up the world really was. She didn't understand her inception. She thought that she was made from clay. And I actually appreciate what they did of merging the 52 verse versus the old school, her believing, Zeus sculpted her from clay with Hippolyta. No, it was actually that, Zeus had, sex with Hippolyta and had her. That's why she felt so out of whack. But I think that the way that Gal played her character in this, the innocence, the ununderstanding, like the unapologetically just, I don't know. She had this elegance about the way that she did things. It was always like, I'm going to do this. You don't have to baby me. I don't understand why are you, treating this woman this way when she should be able to do just as much as you should. Like, I thought that innocence and everything of what the origin of Wonder Woman should be, she played it to a T. I think one of the biggest things with this DCU universe that Zach has kind of set up, the problem is that they aren't where we know them to be as superheroes. Even Superman, even Batman, we know them like they are, almost like gods in a certain way. But in Man of Steel, like this is, when he first got into the fight, he was only Superman for like a few days. You know what I'm saying? Like he had to deal with fighting Kryptonians. So it's like by the end of it, he understood what it meant to take a life. But we know him from Superman that would never do that. But Henry Cavill, along his evolution, I think by the time we get to Justice League, he will be the Superman we know. I know for a fact that with Gal Gadot, it was a totally different Wonder Woman in BVS than she was here. I was like, sitting there watching Wonder Woman, I was like, how did she get to this place, And I think that those moments of chemistry with Chris Pine and their innocent moments and her understanding the way that the world works, I think that their chemistry was the magic of this movie. And yes, I think that Gal Gadot, she got a long ways to go for her acting career, but she devoted herself to this role. Like she put everything into it. She put her heart into it. And I can tell because when I look at BVS, like I was like, dude, this chick, was deadly. She was, she got over on Bruce Wayne, you know what I'm saying? Like from an intellectual level. So she knows how the world works, And at the same time, she had already turned her back on humanity during that time. So it was like, it wasn't until, Superman and Batman kind of convinced her to go and do that, did she do that? So it's like, how did she get to that point? So I think that looking at Gal's performances there and here, I know for a fact that Justice League, she's going to have to be a totally different person. And I think I like that the beginning of this started probably like, I guess, a few weeks that Justice League's about to start. So I actually really appreciated her performance and what she was doing. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to. I just gave you think it's basically 100 years. The origin film, that's World War I, where we're coming in now with BVS and with the Justice League film. It's been nearly 100 years. Yeah. So she's been with humanity and just seeing how grotesque humanity is for nearly 100 years. And because she can't go back to Themyscira now. So she's here. And she's had to, first off, she's only been basically with humanity for just, shy of a month. And Steve Trevor, the first human that she ever met, gets killed. And from that point, it's like she's around it in the grossness that's humanity. She's been around it for close to 100 years. And she's at the point where she's like, I tried, you guys. Yeah. I tried, and I can't fix everybody. And that's where we find her BVS before she, goes, okay, I'm pissed. And, so I'm gonna,
It's really weird for me though, because I think about different emotional beats in this movie where, when she saw like the town get gassed, when she was sitting there talking with Steve after she's already killed, which she thought and perceived to be Ares, and she was like, I can't understand this. This goes beyond my understanding, my belief of my perception of, okay, this should end this now. And so she was just crushed. And I thought that her performance in those two moments alone was enough to keep me wanting to see the movie again. And that's the thing about this film. Yes, they have great action moments, but I think it's the direction and the way that they kind of scripted her character to be that makes me want to go and watch it again, because I get something
out of it. Beautiful.
Well, here's
the snow. That was just beautiful. Like that, just that scene.
You talking about when they were dancing together?
No, they were dancing. Yeah. It was that. It's a short little. It was kind of like that palate cleanser. That was beautiful. But it was a really beautiful scene.
I agree. Yes. No, she's right. But you know what's interesting? Somebody told me that she was actually carrying at that time. She was pregnant at that time, and there was something about not all men though, but all women tend to know there's a beauty about there's a glow, there's a special glow that women have when they're pregnant, and I think that really worked very well for that particular scene, because I was like, even in that dancing scene, I'm like, god damn, she looks finer than usual, and I come to find out she was actually pregnant during that scene, so it worked very well.
My husband would always tell me I was more beautiful, and then I'd throw a shoe at him, and that would pretty much just take that off.
There was something that Anna said, though,
you did this to me.
about her going back to the mascara. I think that based on the relics that the mascara has, I feel like they're going to have a mother box there. Just based on the way that the trailer for was, and seeing what it looks like.
Okay, we're losing him in the scene. Come back to us, Barry.
Yeah. Run this way.
Yeah, you're just breaking up just a tad.
There's an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
Like the sweet.
Barry.
Hey,
subscribe.
But yeah, slight echo. I'm not sure. Hold on.
Okay. But I think she can go back to the mascara though.
Yeah, I'm still hearing
it. It's going to be very hard to find.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a little weird. Like the way they explained everything was the fact that their mascara was hidden by man. But if you just happen to scroll it every time. What is this fog? Oh, hey, we're here now. I was like, really? That was easy.
Yeah.
and I'm not sure what happened with this echo going on, but mute.
Let's see.
Stand by, people. Let's see something.
The Speed Force is calling to us. Oh, now it's better. Is it better?
Yeah,
Now it's-
yeah, I think it is better now.
Good.
Okay, so wait. So Amon, Anna, and Keaton are. All right, Keaton, unmute yours. Hello, testing.
Test.
All right, so between Anna and Amon, which one of you guys is the culprit?
One of you guys is it. Like the Hateful Eight.
She's a it's a
I can
time
go.
rim.
Okay, I'm
acting up.
unmuted.
Okay. Oh no, Anna, is it you?
Anna is the culprit.
Let's see. Is it me?
I was thinking so. Maybe.
Yep, there you go.
Is it? Okay.
Put some headphones in. That should work.
I don't have. I just got this computer, so I don't have any
Oh,
crap for it yet.
Okay.
Yep.
It's,
Well, everything is seemingly.
yeah.
it
fine,
might.
maybe.
Well, the best bet, Anna, would be just to mute yourself until you want to talk. You just use push to talk. That works.
Yeah. Ironically, I think it's Sam. You were the last to go, right? So I think Anna, you actually up next. But it's time to
Okay, everybody, be quiet.
Is there one quick thing I can say about the last thing we were talking about? I do think
go ahead.
I do think that Gal did a really, really good job portraying that character that views everything as a shade of black and white, realizing that she lives in a world of gray.
Okay. Yeah, I agree there.
Actually,
I think she did a really good job with that.
In some
Yeah,
form or
actually, that's
fashion.
what-
The only thing that I will say here is, and this is the maybe the bigger problem I have with the with Gal's portrayal, especially in the way the world we live in today, where people are raised in particular communities and they have this like blinded stereotype of the way things are. The entire, from what we have seen, the entire Amazonian culture, all of them were like hardcore. All of them were like badasses for the most part. The mom was a little more relaxed in some situations, but even her idea, everybody has this like stereotype of man's world. It seemed like almost all the Amazons actually knew Diana's secret, except Diana. And I just felt like Diana herself was so detached from the rest of her culture that like it was kind of odd for me for her not to get sometimes like angry at certain things that men would do.
Yeah.
Like she would complain about it, but she wouldn't be so aggressive about it coming from a culture that everybody was aggressive. So I thought that there was a little bit of a detachment there.
Sure. Well, actually, I think that kind of leads into our next topic, which is about the negatives of the film. So I guess for me, the biggest negatives that I had with the movie would be there wasn't many, but for one, the villains. I thought that the execution of the villains was weak, just in general. Like the gas sniffing guy, and then the mask. Sorry, I don't know the character name. Yeah, the guy who's like fucking David Lynch's Blue Velvet or something, and then the mask lady, and then and then and then there was Ares, but like the reveal of Ares totally didn't work. Granted, I honestly didn't see it coming, so I guess kudos, but it wasn't sort of like this huge revelation where I was like, like it just, I was like, okay, because like when I was picturing Ares, I was picturing like this big demonic hulking, but it was just like some Englishman and a
Game
tie,
of Thrones
and so was
extra.
with like a handlebar mustache, like levitating. I mean, I guess technically speaking, he did become Ares, so that the fight got better.
It is me. I was Ares all alone. You didn't know I was right under your nose with a mustache. Yeah, got you.
Yeah. So the villains were weak, and what was another big negative that I had? There was one other one, but it's escaping me at the current time. So until it comes back, Anna, what were some of your negatives?
Right. Okay, I am unmuted. Okay. As far as my negatives, I will say, as far as Gal Gadot's performance, there were a couple of times where it felt a little forced. A couple of more emotional scenes, it felt a little forced. But that, and of course, like, oh, sorry, loud chair. Also, yeah, as far as the villains go, I do kind of feel like they were a bit underdeveloped. It was almost, okay, we're gonna, slap this on this person and give this person, this, but like they didn't really develop the sniffing thing. It was like, okay, it makes them strong for a minute, but what else? And then Ares, I was surprised. I mean, I won't give it, I was definitely surprised with who it was, but again, yeah, it was kind of like, can you stop, please? Sorry. But yeah, so as far as my complaints, not a lot. I didn't really have a lot, but yeah, in terms of her, there were a few times where I noticed where it just kind of felt like maybe they could have gone a couple more takes just to kind of let the scene get a little bit more organic with her reactions. And then, could you stop? Sorry, guys. And then, yeah, as far as the villains went, a little bit, they could have pushed him over the edge a little bit more, made him a little more villainy, a little less underdeveloped. So I'm gonna remute myself now.
Okay. No, I remember. I finally remember. So it was the villains, and then the CGI. The CGI didn't always work for me personally. It was never like terrible, but there were just certain moments that took me out of the film with the CGI. Like there was one sequence on the beach where the first woman who gets shot, like Wonder Woman, she's like watching a bullet fly by, and the woman like comes swinging in like Tarzan. She gets shot, and for a moment, I swear her whole body was just like Matrix Reloaded, like CGI, and I was like, oh, shit. There were like a few moments like that throughout the film that just kind of took me out of it. But luckily, like I said in my solo review, there's a lot of frenetic editing going on, so there's not a lot of lingering shots on bad CGI, which is great. But yeah, I did think the CGI was just kind of weak in some parts, and very noticeable, more so than it should have been. So yeah, just the villains and the CGI issue. Those were my only real negatives. Everything else is just like nitpicks. But yeah, Aman, what about you as far as negatives go?
My biggest negative was the runtime. I feel like it could have been 20 to 30 minutes shorter, in my opinion. There was just, I did not really like the little montage of her dressing up as a woman, like as a lady, like I don't know, it was very cheesy for me. I'm sure other people felt that more, like, oh, that's humanizing her or whatever. But for me, I was just like, I want to see her kick some ass. Like, let's.
You're trying to do a Thor coffee scene type of thing.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I'm sure other people enjoyed it. Like, I'm probably someone who was just nitpicking on that part. But I was just like, oh, it's a little cheesy. But I think that, yeah, just the time, it was just a little too long, I think, for like the first, I know they wanted to add in everything. But what was the other thing? The villains, I can agree on the villains being a little bit weak, I guess. I did think that Ares, I didn't know he was Ares, but I knew he had something to do with something. I think the only other thing was so the sniper guy, did he ever shoot anything? Because I don't remember him shooting anything.
He didn't. I thought that was going to be a big thing. Like, oh, he's finally saved the day at least once.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I see what you mean. The guy who woke up from that fireplace, like the ghosts were getting to him or whatever. Yeah, I guess he didn't really have a real moment of showing his skill, despite
he basically just died. That was it. In terms of he died into history, that was it. Like there was no.
Oh, right, you're right. Yeah, he's dead. Oh God, they died.
Yeah, they just all died. That was it.
Yeah, it would have. It would have been nice to see like a sequence, sort of like that one guy's resume and then Glorious Bastards, where he just like picks off like 600 people. But no, he didn't really have a certain.
We know what's gonna happen though. DC's gonna bring out their version that's 40 minutes longer, and he's gonna cap like 10 people.
Oh,
Wonder Woman, the extended version. Find out what happened to Wonder Woman's Fantastic Four.
Yeah, just getting like 10 headshots per second. But
Wonder Woman and the Howling Commandos.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
that's what I would call them. What else would you call them? Like
Weak throwaway characters.
I don't know. It was like the Suicide Squad guy who jumped up and got killed in the first.
So you
I
need to
don't
tell
know.
me we're some sort of Wonder Squad, huh?
pretty much.
But they served their purpose. They were basically fodder
Sure.
to keep the story going. I wish they didn't spend so much time on them, because I knew they were going to be irrelevant by the time we get to Justice League. But yeah.
Yeah.
Akasan, did you have any other like substantial negatives about the film?
Of course I do. No, but the one thing I want to mention about the villains and such is a lot of you were mentioning that the villains were kind of weak. I felt like the villains were where they needed to be to help define war, and they helped define the fact that there were lines of gray, and even Chris Pine's character was like, look, I'm a spy. There's not really a good or bad. I don't really know how to exist in this world like normal people do. And I think the villains also help define it. And the powder smoking dude, the huff and puff villain guy, I think was a nice classic misdirection of even I, for the most part, thought that eventually he was going to like toke up enough to release Ares that is inside of him, or something like Ares was using him as some sort of husk or something like that, and would basically grow out of him like Sephiroth and from Final Fantasy Advent Children. So I thought it was a classic misdirection on that sort of side. Like, I thought he was going to get stabbed and then his eyes would light up and you would hear like, I have finally been released through all your hate, or something like that. And it would have been Ares. I actually thought that Wonder Woman figured it out way earlier in the movie when she was talking to somebody Chris Pine was talking to the woman on the phone, and that guy got out of his desk, and then she thought it was the Huff and Puff guy, but I was like, oh, so it's that old guy, he's Ares. So later I was like, oh wait, she didn't figure that out. Okay, I was wrong. But then, oh, it is him. Okay, I was right. However, you were talking about the fact that he was kind of underdeveloped. If you go ahead and cast someone like Charles Dance, who plays Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, it would have been so freaking obvious that that dude was Ares. So I kind of see why they played it that way. Would have loved Charles Dance as Ares? Hell yes. But yeah, but yes, it fell into that classic third act syndrome, over CG, big battle, didn't really have a point. The hero basically won, but what are you going to do? It's a superhero movie. My only real notable problems with this movie was just the editing and the soundtrack. Now, it wasn't, in terms of editing, it wasn't the overall, we're not talking like Suicide Squad editing style. I'm just talking about little things, jumping down from a building after Chris Pine's character died, the combination of Gal's performance or her response and the editing didn't work so well, and that was really shown from the problem with the soundtrack. We all really loved Wonder Woman's theme song and BVS, but I felt like there were a lot of missed opportunities with these very underused scores, or these scores that really weren't fully developed in scenes that should have been great. A lot of people talk about the No Man's Land scene, and I thought that like I was so ready for it because they were teasing it ever since she saw the costume, and she kept on trying to take off her outfit, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be dope. This is gonna be the dopest scene when she puts on that tiara. And then it's perfect. Like, okay, let's make this happen. I just felt like the soundtrack came very low and underperformed instead of just like boom. This was one of those moments where I actually did miss the combination of Zack Snyder and James, not Hans Zimmer. I missed Hans Zimmer because I thought that he would have wrecked that scene so well to really bring out the horrors of war, but show a hero powering through. And I just felt like the soundtrack didn't match most scenes, coupled by some of the editing choices with slow motion and what have you not. But other than that, it was all good. Those were just my two small things, was like some editing shots, and the soundtrack was almost not noticeable in the first and second act.
Interesting. Yeah, the soundtrack to Man of Steel, I think it's like outstanding. It just blows my mind. So yeah, that's a good point about the music. But Keaton, what about you? Negatives?
Well, there are a couple things. One thing I'll touch on. The villains, I'm really hoping that Ares isn't gone. I'm really hoping he's not. I'm hoping that they didn't one-shot off Ares after 20 minutes of reveal. Like, I hate it when comic book movies will cast an amazing actor and then one-shot him at the very end, because killing off the God of War 15 years before World War II doesn't really add up. I mean, I thought the twist at the end was kind of cool, but at the same time, as soon as I saw David Thewlis, I'm like, he's not going to stay behind the desk the whole time. Like, I kind of caught on. I was surprised they didn't do some Incredible Hulk style transformation of him into Ares, but at the same time, I understood what they were trying to do. I just hope they didn't kill off the God of War when you have literally 100 years worth of war that happens between then and the Justice League movie. But more than that, if there was one thing that bothered me, I didn't like that whole cliche that happened between Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor. Walking into the movie, I was really, really hoping that we were going to have Wonder Woman friend zone the hell out of Steve Trevor the whole movie. Like, I was really hoping she was going to be like, it's World War I. I don't have time to kiss you. Like, maybe a peck at the end, right before he died. But I just didn't.
I have a feeling you're gonna die. Here's a peck.
Yeah, I really didn't want the whole, oh my God, it's snowing, let's have sex. Like, that doesn't. I really didn't like that, because
That's interesting.
It was like, in a world full of war, here's a little bit of Nicholas Sparks unnecessarily.
Yeah, and you didn't like that. Steve got lucky. Go on.
Like, I really didn't. It just didn't fit with her whole mythos. Like, and maybe I'm forgetting some stuff. Like, maybe I'm forgetting something, but not like, I get that there's something between her and Steve Trevor. Right. But I didn't think that was necessary. The same way, like, the random friends for comedic relief, like, I get why they did that more than I get why they had to make it necessary that her and Steve Trevor hooked up.
Okay, well, in defense of that, the thing I will explain is the whole scene before that. It wasn't just like, okay, we just had a battle. I just took out this sniper in a church. Let's screw. It was more or less like look, this is going back to what I was saying earlier with Steve talking about he doesn't know what normal people go through, what they feel like. This is as normal as we're ever going to get. This useless sniper here guy is singing for the first time. Here's a lovey situation. And Diana is for the first time seeing human men and women sort of coexisting in a harmonious type of scene, so she got a little turned on after that. So I thought they did that scene a lot better than just like, oh my god, Steve, you saved my ass, let's screw. It's more like, okay, she's seeing the most beautiful thing that humanity on earth offers, and that's love and compassion for each other. So I could see how she sort of just disappeared with Steve for just one moment, one night, if that.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Just super shallow, but it's Chris Pine, so I kind of know why. I mean,
I mean,
Chris Pine is Peggy Carter, but Chris Pine.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I totally get your criticism, Keaton, of that the romance angle. It's interesting. I mean, it's definitely valid for sure. I guess I didn't mind it because I thought that Chris Pine and Gal had legitimate chemistry, which so many movies fail at. So I didn't mind it so much, and it wasn't something like a right off the bat neither. So I guess I didn't mind it that much. Actually, for me, I was actually after the snow scene. I was like, oh, my boy Steve got in there. But Sam, what about you, Sam?
You know, real quick, I'm just gonna say, while I was watching that movie, my friend turned to me and I'm like, so she finally became a Wonder Woman. I'm like, oh, come on, dude.
Oh man.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Moving on from that, Sam, your negatives.
Before I even get into my negatives, to kind of piggyback off what Keaton said, I think that if I came into the movie hoping that she would just focus on just trying to be, you know, that specific warrior for that era and time, I could understand it. I think that kind of to what Jor-Els said, that the chemistry was just natural. Like, I mean, the first time she looked at him, she's like, what are you? You know, she was really observant. But then the first time he saw her was the silhouette of her in the water. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was about to die, like he's looking at her.
That was
like,
dope.
That was really awesome.
Like, so I mean, both of them were captivated by who they were. And it wasn't like, you know, he was trying to fight, you know, trying to be a gentleman. For the most part, for the entire movie, he was legit trying to be the most stand-up gentleman I've ever seen in a movie. Like there were moments I was like, man, he's doing good to kind of hold out, you know, his perception of her, not looking at her in an overly sexual manner, trying to be respectful of her. And I think that for me, like the whole cornerstone of her character based on this universe was her understanding her driving force is love. It's not just the pursuit of trying to help mankind, but it has to be that exemption with love involved in it. It just was a natural love for her. And the weird thing was that even though, yeah, they did hook up, but even after that, he still tried to do what he needed to do. And she still had her own motivation. They both had their own individual motivations, but they really were the same. And I think that even to him dying, like he knew, you know, he'd given up true love, but he didn't have any understanding of it. He didn't have any kind of perception of what that could be for him. That was the first time he had it, you know? And so I think for me, I didn't have a real problem with, you know, their romance or whatever happened with them, because it's just really beautiful. Like it just
and let's not forget that Diana is a very curious person here. And as Iman just wrote secretly in the chat, yeah, he did say that he was above average. So she just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah.
He was telling the truth.
Oh my God.
Iman, do you like Chris Pine by anything?
I'm reading the YouTube chat right now.
Is there a chance you like Chris Pine?
Above average.
No, yeah. One woman, she wanted to know, like, what does that mean?
But I don't know. I'm gonna get into my negatives, so I'm sorry I went there, but I mean, my negatives for me in this movie came to. There were some cheesy moments that I felt were kind of more nitpicky than anything. Like I was feeling like, okay, we didn't need this corny moment. But I was like, okay, it paid off because they got good chemistry. Oh, we didn't need that moment with, the Howling Commandos when he was sitting there drunk, on the ground. And, but it's weird, but I like these Howling Commandos more so than I did the Howling Commandos in the Captain America movie. That's the reality for it. Like, as much as they were not needed for this story, for each one of them, they had specific spotlights and moments where I was like empathetic to their characters. Like the guy Sammy, when he was talking about, like, dude, I was an actor. I didn't want to be in the war. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what my hand has been dealt. Same thing with the guy Chief. The same exact situation. But I could get away with their cheesy moments. I don't think they were necessary either, personally, for the narrative. My problem was really with the villains. And it wasn't Ares. That's the weird thing. It wasn't Ares. I actually liked that Ares was this normal looking person that, from our perception, like, he was an advocate for peace. So it's like, what was he really trying to convey, And it wasn't until the second time looking at it, I was like, okay, yeah, he's trying to promote peace, to, just go behind it and show this destructive force with this toxin that he's kind of implanted into mankind. I had a problem with Captain Poison and Lundorf. And it was really because they just had so many stupid, cheesy moments. I think that Lundorf would have worked for me if they would never shown her giving him this elixir that basically kind of is the future Venom serum, essentially. Where he was to take it, he gets super strong. Like, if they had never showed me that, he just was normally strong. When we first see him, like, all right, he's got this superhuman strength. Like, how did he get this? Maybe he must be Ares. They would have waited until Diana finally first saw him, and then they, showed, like, okay, he's been taking this serum. That reveal for Ares would have been so much better, because I would have never doubted that Diana was wrong up until the very end. I knew at a certain point, all right, Sir, whatever his name was, the person. So that was a sucky thing for me. I think that they could have done that a lot better. And I think that the villains were just really cheesy. I actually really loved the soundtrack. I actually loved generally the movie. I think that there were different moments that were too Richard Donner-ish, homage to Superman 1. But you know what? I'm a softie for that, personally. So, like, I didn't have any real big problems with the movie. It was just nitpicks, I guess, more than anything. But yeah.
Do you think they're gonna try and develop what's her name? Dr. Poison, Miss Phantom of the Opera?
Oh,
yeah,
so
no, she's gone.
So to answer your question, Keaton, you just said something about Ares dying. There is, in the 52 comics, first off, Wonder Woman can and will become, Ares.
God of War.
God of War. So for them to show the helmet just kind of sitting there, I think that there's a price for her sitting there killing him. I think that there has to be some kind of semblance of an entity like that, especially if they're going to go into World War II. And from the 100-year span, I know that there's something else that kind of comes into play with that character. So I feel like
Ares is that kind of entity that feeds off of war and conflict. So wherever there is war, there will always be Ares. So yeah, so. He's not gone. He's just snapping.
I hope so. Good.
But it was weird when you thought about Dr. Poison. Did y'all think that was the serum that Bane got? Like, every time I said that, I was like, is this the future serum? Because she got away. She burned all her stuff, but she actually legit did get away. I feel like that's going to come back later. Maybe she's going to start developing some, I don't know, metahumans. I don't really know. But I felt like she played more so with the Batman part of the Venom that Bane would get, personally, Keaton. I don't know. I was going to ask y'all about that, actually.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did you guys, what were you going to say, Oxon?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, we're gonna see Bane in the near future. That serum, the Venom serum, could certainly be played into it. I wouldn't mind if they didn't do it. Like, I don't think every single factor needs to be connected that particular way. But because yeah, it's okay. I'm fine with them never bringing it up again, and that it is what it is. But that's fine. And the other thing, in terms of the God of War thing, that kind of also bother me. Small nitpick is, like, I felt when she was going Super Saiyan like that, they're similar to the Phoenix-ish Jean Grey Phoenix hidden underneath type of deal. I would have liked if she was going to do all that with all that power and such and be on that same level of Ares throwing out a reverse Kamehameha and such, like let her hair glow, let her eyes burn a little bit of red to show some indication that she's a god, but she's got this undeveloped god talents that could come up at a later time. That was, just a small nitpick. I was like, okay, if you're gonna go all Super Saiyan like this and suddenly now you can fly, then show us a little bit of that rage that I know you have underneath.
And speaking of small nitpicks, like I love like Greek mythology. The entire time during that last fight, I was like, why is Ares throwing lightning bolts? I was like, where's your giant hammer or axe or sword? Why are you pulling a Zeus right now? Like I said,
because he is Zeus.
Mm-hmm. No, that's actually a really good question, and that plays into the question I was actually going to ask Anna. When your little girls looked at Wonder Woman, do you feel like she was afraid of Ares? And the way you look. I said because I feel like look like that so as not to scare the children demographic, because even like there was one London Dwarf, there was no blood there. When that Amazon got shot, there was no blood. I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Versus like Man of Steel or BVS, I feel like they legit chose certain moments. Even the sniper dude, I wonder, okay, if they have a sniper dude that has a specific skill, they never showed it because they want to keep a demographic of people. My question to you, Anna, was when your kid was looking at Ares, do you think she was legitimately frightened of him, or she just wanted him to lose? I wanted to catch from your perception, how did she receive it? I guess more than anything.
All right. Well, first off, I guess let's give a little background on my child. Her favorite movie is The Shining, so she's not.
Yay, Shining!
Okay, go away.
Yay, Shining! Wow.
Yo, The Shining is amazing. That movie is amazing. That wrong? Oh my god. Anyway.
And I also like The Ring.
Okay, go away. So, she's not scared of a lot. Yeah. Okay, Rich, that's good. Shh, it's done. You're done. Yeah, she's not scared of a lot. I've been watching horror films since I was 3, so she kind of got that gene. But yeah, so there's not a lot that scares her. So I think she more was just of the I want Wonder Woman to kick his butt, because that in her mind, Wonder Woman kicks the bad guys' butts, and so that was where she was coming from. But again, she's not one of those kids who scares easily. I don't know. I agree they may have made it to where it wasn't as bloody and whatnot because of the younger demographics that may be coming to see the film. But as far as my daughter goes, for her, she just wanted the bad guy to lose. So because nothing scares that kid. So bad guy lose, and that was pretty much what she wanted out of it.
That's awesome. So she would have been fine with the decapitation from the animated version then.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, Sam. The rated R one's coming.
I guess before we get to like our scores and final little tidbits here, I guess what was your guys' like just favorite scene in general, and any I guess what were some any other substantial positives that come to mind? I think my favorite scene, actually having thought about it, listening to these conversations, it might actually be, okay, so I can't remember what made Wonder Woman go deaf, but she was deaf for a moment, and Steve was talking to her, and then some scenes go by, but then we come back to that moment again, and all of a sudden we can hear what Steve was saying. I actually thought that was a
but
clever...
why could she? That's what I didn't understand.
Why could she hear?
Yeah. So in the beginning, she couldn't understand. Like the first time we see that scene, she was like, what? Like that. Then, like later on, she has this memory, and now suddenly she can actually talk in that same scene.
I think she was trying to.
And she can remember what he said, and I was like, what?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. If she actually, I actually wasn't sure if she actually remembered or if this was just solely for the audience. I'm actually not sure
No,
but
she
either
actually
way,
was having a conversation with him. Like and it wasn't very coherent, but she was actually replying to him. Like,
Yeah.
Well, hold on. To comment on that, after seeing it like the second time when I watched it, like at first I thought the same thing like you. I was like, did she read his lips? You know, did she
right.
bodily powers allow her to perceive what he actually said? But really, when I watched it the second time, she still couldn't hear. She was just telling him, whatever it is, Steve, I'll do it. Don't do it, or whatever. She couldn't hear, but she was telling him not to do whatever he's trying to do. She knew, you know, that he was going away, but she couldn't perceive what was going on.
Yeah, I think I kind of took it again as maybe a lot of it was just meant for the audience, for emotional impact for the audience, for us to hear more so than her. But either way, I thought that was I just thought that was well timed. I just thought that was a really poignant way to execute that moment, circling back to it. I just thought that was clever to ring emotion as we're kind of nearing the end of the film. So I think that might have actually been my favorite moment in the film outside of her, you know, dropping the robe and walking towards, you know, no man's land, which is like becoming like a typical favorite moment. But and I guess the biggest positive that I can say is that I didn't get the sense that this was like a film only for women. I just thought it was just really just a film about a powerful woman, not like it was trying to make this huge message about it just didn't feel like gender specific. It just felt like whether you were male or female, it just seemed irrelevant. You know, they were just trying to tell her story the best way that they could. So but I think Anna, I think you're up next, but your favorite moment in the film?
All right, I actually been jotting them down because I have a few. And a lot of them were just smaller moments. Let's see, when they first got Steve with the lasso in front of the council, I just thought that was funny because, I mean, like, it's really hot. So he can't stop telling the truth because it's burning him. So I just thought that was a fun little scene. Let's see, then the scene where Diana jumps up to the tower and gets a sniper. To me, it showed that Steve remembered what he saw from her training. It was scary because he told his friends, okay, just when I say up, up, and then he yelled shield at her because she knew what to do. It's like they had that communication. He understood what her training was, to jump on it and go. When he gave Diana the watch, I just thought that was it was one of those touching moments again. Just like the snow, that was another one of my favorite scenes. Just that those moments between the action that are kind of the palate cleansers that kind of bring everybody back down and give that humanity to the film, because at the end of the day, we're all people watching people, and so it gives that emotional bit to the film. When Diana saw the baby, I just thought that was funny because she's never seen a baby in her life. She knows what a baby is because she's read all these books. She's read everything, but she's never actually seen a baby. So just how excited she got when she saw that baby. And I got two more. Diana after the gas attack, that was at that moment, the emotion in that scene was just so raw, and I thought that was great because she hadn't really shown that up until that point. You know, she, like I said, there were a couple points where I feel like she kind of dropped the ball, but that scene where she's in that village where she had just been dancing and enjoying time with those people, and she had just been there, and now all those people are dead, and it's that moment where she realized
because I heard one girl started laughing.
And I'm just, yeah, to me it was a deep moment. I loved that. But then the last one that I really liked was, and it's another small moment, it was right before Steve shoots back into the back of the plane, where he just kind of gets this look of satisfaction on his face, like, okay, I'm gonna die. It's like this fear, but satisfaction. He knows he's gonna die, but he also knows that he's helping. He knows it's Diana who's really busted her butt, but he is at least doing, like he said to her, this is me helping today so that you can help, you know, forever, so you can continue this war. So just that little look on his face before he blew himself up, I like those moments. So those are, I'm sure once I watch it again, I'll have like a whole other list, but that's my laundry list for now.
Okay. And Aman, what was your sort of favorite moment in the film and any remaining substantial positives that you have about the film.
I think I also agree with the Steve Trevor. I feel like Chris Pine did a really great job as Steve Trevor, and yeah, he reminds me of Captain America a lot. So which was weird because yeah, Marvel, but I enjoyed that. It brought, like I said, that was the one scene I did tear up on when he looks back and because I was like, well, maybe it's like if it's a Marvel movie, if it was a Marvel movie, like the Hulk would have jumped and grabbed him, or but of course he had to die, and like it was like that kind of sucks, but it was good because sometimes you need that like darkness, and that will push Diana to be the woman she eventually becomes, I guess. But I don't know, I feel like that was one of my favorite moments, and it's kind of hard because I was sitting here thinking I had like more favorite moments. Like I said, the Super Saiyan scene really, I don't know. I just like when characters show kind of like their full power. That's exciting for me. And I liked when she said goodbye, brother, because for some reason in that moment, and only in that moment, I like realized they were siblings, like their dad was Zeus. And I was like, wait, like it was only in that moment that I realized it. So I feel like that was perfectly executed in my opinion. And see, now my son wants to be involved. Thank you.
What was your favorite scene, little?
He didn't watch the movie.
Oh.
He didn't watch it.
All right.
But thank you. He gave me a nerd candy.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed the movie overall, and I can't even think of like a scene that like really just blew me away right now, and that sucks because there were a few scenes that were like I liked and I teared up on. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And Akasan, what about you?
There were moments. Well, to piggyback off of what Iman is saying is, I'm sorry, Iman is saying is the fact that there were moments, but there weren't really like memorable scenes in terms of like, okay, this is something that we're going to go back on and be like, this is great. I mean, a lot of people refer back to the No Man's Land scene, but fortunately, maybe it has a lot to do with reacting and what have you not, but I just kind of, when you're doing reactions to trailers and what have you not, like, unfortunately, what happens, for me at least, watching the movies, I start to piece together when that scene's about to come up during the movie, so it ruins the impact. So I remembered that I knew when the shield part was going to happen before it even happened. So it kind of ruined that like awesome money shot, which is one of the reasons I'm avoiding all Spider-Man trailers from this point on, because they just ruined something huge with their money shot. That being said, for me, the scenes that stood out were things that they didn't reveal in the trailers, and that'll remind me of what's going on. And one of those things being the sniper. I think when she was, it wasn't taking out snipers, but when she was taking out a bunch of guys in a particular building, and then they ended it on the knee kick out the building. I thought that one was pretty cool. A little too much on the slow motion, but I thought that was like the first time we actually saw a lot of well done martial arts and close combat stuff that showcased that, oh damn, Diana can actually fight. Yes, she beat a bunch of Amazons, but we never saw anything. We just saw a stunt. Well, for me, it looked like an obvious stunt double fighting. And this one sort of showcased Wonder Woman doing being wonderful. So that scene I actually liked a lot. After the Super Saiyan running through the fire thing, I wanted to like that more than I did. I enjoyed it, but I also felt like it was kind of like a little Zack Snyder-ish without the full-fledged Zack Snyder. Like, I never thought I would feel this, but I was like, damn, I really wish Zack Snyder had directed this scene, just this scene with Ares, and give us something, because I knew he probably could have made it a little more impactful. So taking out the snipers, the combat, or the people in the tower, and then the scene on the boat. I particularly am more of a fan of slower scenes that build character just by dialogue, and it's like a trading of the minds and culture. And I actually really like that one scene between Steve and Diana on the boat. She's laying down and she's like, well, where will you sleep? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna sit over here. And they're talking about marriage, and there's a little bit of comedy going back and forth, and they're just kind of sharing their ideas. That was actually one of my particularly one of my favorite scenes there. Anything else? Cinematically, I think I would have enjoyed the opening a lot more, and the mother explaining about Zeus. Unfortunately, I just saw it on a military base, so I knew that the quality of the screen wasn't really going to showcase everything that I wanted from it. So I'm gonna have to wait until August, the end of August, in order to, when it comes out in Japan, and watch it on IMAX 3D, and then I could really I'll probably have a completely different set of new scenes by that time, because I'll finally see it the way the directors would have preferred me to see it.
I just gotta say, I'm so jealous of the whole Japan thing. It's like Japan is one place I've always wanted to go and still have not gotten there. Damn it. Keaton, what about you? Favorite moment or substantial positives for you? Lingering?
I really, if I had to choose like what I like most from the film, I really, really loved how they did Themyscira. Like, I really thought they made it like this beautiful place, but
I agree,
the most powerful women on the planet. And one moment that really stuck out is because Diana's mom had this ideal where she was gonna raise Diana extremely naive in this horrible world we live in, and Robin Wright's character finally convincing her not to. Like, after catching her training, she's like, okay, she needs to be trained. She has a purpose. Like, in a world filled with confusion, everyone on that island, and now Diana knows that she has a purpose. And I thought that was something that really stuck out to me.
Okay. And Sam, your favorite moment or lingering substantial positives about the film?
Yeah, I think I've probably already talked about it, but I mean, to piggyback on what Keaton said, what they did with the mascara was just beautiful. I think I actually really appreciated the dialogue between Robin Wright's character, Hippolyta, and Diana. Like, I just love that interaction and the immersion into that world. It kind of made me feel like when they did with Man of Steel in the very beginning. In Man of Steel in the very beginning, when they were on Krypton, it felt like its own movie, its own world, and I was really captivated by it. And like, when I watched this film with the mascara scenes, like, I was like, I want to revisit this. I hope she gets to go back. I hope we get to see new Amazonians. I hope we get to see characters like Artemis, and other people that are impactful for Diana later on. But I think, honestly, my favorite scenes were anything with Steve Trevor and Diana Prince. Any moment that was awkward in the boat, any moment that was emotional, like when they came out of talking to the general, and she was like, I can't believe your general would do something like this. I can't believe you would say this. And then he kind of just blurts out like I was lying. And she was just like, huh? Like she couldn't believe it, but it was a fresh reaction. It was funny and it was engaging. Like,
that was good. No, that was good with good chemistry.
Yeah. Exactly. Every single moment that they had conversation, whether it was deep, whether it was small talk, it felt so natural to the progression of these characters. Like they complemented each other in every single way to the very last culmination moment when we saw that flashback of her really telling her, you know, saying like, I'll save today and you save the world tomorrow, like essentially. And even with that, like the conversation that he had with her before that, after she thought she had killed Ares and didn't, it was like, look, yes, inherently we are bad people. We choose this, but it's what you believe, not what you can do. And like I thought that those meaty scenes were great. As much as I enjoyed the No
Man's Land.
No Man's Land scene, as much as I enjoyed, you know, her going Super Saiyan and unfolding her demigod character powers, like it was really the emotional rich scenes between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot that really captivated me for this movie personally. And I don't know, I think that that's why I wanted to see it again. Like I want to relive those moments personally.
Okay, and as far as like your score of the film and why, for me, I have really low expectations walking into this movie. I really didn't like Suicide Squad or BBS either edition, but I think this film was a huge comeback, at least temporarily speaking, for DC. I thought it was a really strong film. I personally gave it like a 9 out of 10. I didn't think it was quite a 10 out of 10. Man of Steel is still DC's best film so far, cinematically speaking. I don't think it's equivalent, and I don't think it's better than Man of Steel, because I gave that one a 9 out of 10 as well. I think it's like below it, but I think it's still a great movie. And I guess as far as a why goes, I just thought that they, honest to God, executed Wonder Woman in a near perfect way from a narrative standpoint. Because like having an origins and then having like fantasy elements and then having like a war element and then romance as well, and even comedy, which I thought that the comedy worked quite a bit. There's just a lot of juggling acts that I thought they executed really well. So, but Anna, what did you score the film and why? An A, a 10?
Definitely. Oh, the one other moment, sorry, I just have to say, is when she told the Scottish guy when he was like, I think I'm worthless. And she was like, no, we need you for your singing. And that was just another one of those. So I like that. I'm a writer, so I like that kind of stuff. But anyways, okay, out from that. I would definitely at least give it an 8.5. I mean, you know, it wasn't perfect. It's very difficult for any film, especially coming off of what, you know, she's coming from, to be a perfect 10, but definitely at least an 8.5. My why is because she...
I give it
a 90. Okay. So
Yeah.
Out of 10. So math
Future
is not our
Rotten
strong
Tomatoes
suit.
critic there.
Yes, math is not our strong suit. We're working on that. But yeah, so my why is because, you know, really, Gal Gadot really did capture Wonder Woman for what the film was, for coming from that specific origin story, doing the Zeus origin story and everything, and being how it was, and yeah, I just, sorry, my daughter is distracting me. Can you please stop?
Okay.
I'm back. But yeah, my why is that it was because it really was a truly great superhero film. Female superhero, male superhero. For me, I wanted to go into it without that being a factor. And it just came out as a really good, a really strong superhero film. Okay, Francesca, please go away. Please go away. I feel like it rates up there. It does rate up there with the good ones in terms of Man of Steel, in terms of they tried. They didn't Snyderize this one, which was nice to see. You know, and that was cool. It was cool to get to see a superhero film done like a superhero film. So that was why I enjoyed it so much. So.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay. All right. Cool. That was me rambling as I'm trying to tell my child to stop like.
No,
fidgeting
it's
and
fine.
everything.
It's fine.
But yeah,
It looks like she was holding a fidget spinner for a second, and I saw one of those finally for the first time recently, and I was like, God, this thing is soul sucking.
Yes, both of my children have fidget spinners. It's like a.
It's like a soul sucking.
I need somebody to send me a Justice League version.
But Aman, what was your score of the film and why?
I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, but like I said, the timing. I'm not gonna lie. I went to the bathroom twice, so
God damn!
I know. I was drinking a little bit of beer. Maybe that's why. It went, and I was like, I gotta go. We all use the restroom, but yeah, that it couldn't I was just thinking about that. Like, God, this is really long. I mean, usually I'm okay with it. Like the Lord of the Rings, I'm good. I could sit there 3 hours. That's perfect for me. But for some reason, the timing of this movie just made me want to. I can't give it full points, and yeah, but I did enjoy it a lot. So it's not like a low score at all, but it's not like a perfect score either. But yeah, I don't know why I'm being really hard on the runtime of this movie, but
gotcha.
No beer.
Oh, beer.
Beer.
Oh man, that would make the movie really interesting.
No, it was slight, not. I wasn't drunk. Just
Not back then, anyways.
You good, Sam?
But Akasan, score, letter, number. What did you give it and why?
Well, I don't number things, or I don't give scores so often. But I will say it was above average. So when comparing it to for the DCEU, and I think that's what a lot of people are coming into it as, and a lot of people I think are, honestly speaking, I think a lot of people are inflating this movie a lot more than it really is. It's good now. The timing is great now. It's sort of like Obama. If it wasn't for Bush, we wouldn't be appreciating Obama as much. If it wasn't for Trump, we wouldn't be appreciating what we had with Obama as much. So if it wasn't for going through the Zack Snyder films and all the Marvel films, we wouldn't have appreciated Wonder Woman as much now. As even the advertising said, her time is now. So I was thinking about this constantly while watching the movie. I'm like, you know what? This is no different than a Phase 1 Marvel movie, but would I have appreciated it as much? I don't know. Maybe because of the fact that of everything we've gone through with the DCEU films, we appreciate just the fact that there is finally a DCEU film that people aren't tearing their hair out, screaming, wondering about destruction, or everybody's just jumping on this one particular negative point. So I think people are just happy they didn't screw it up immensely, and I think that's one of the reasons it's a little bit inflated. I'm gonna tell you, over the weekend, that second weekend drop, let's see what happens. Let's talk about Wonder Woman in about 3 weeks and see how everybody still stands once the high is all done. Logan surpassed that. People are still talking about how good Logan is. Let's see how Wonder Woman does. In the world of the DCEU, it's great. I would say it's beyond average. It's just, thank God. That's the score I'm giving it. Thank God. Finally. Can't wait till Justice League. Okay, it established Wonder Woman as a character. I'm not a big fan of origin films, only because I read the comics, I've seen the animations. I don't really need a lot of stuff repeated to me. I want more character development. I want to see the direction they're going to take the character. Give me something new. But all that being said, I'm so ready to see what Wonder Woman's going to be like in Justice League this November. comparing it to other comic book films, I'd say it's average. It's very average, only because of the fact that origin films are kind of said and done. Origin films was so 8 years ago, with Phase 1 and such. One of the reasons Man of Steel I thought was meh, whatever, was okay. Batman Begins, it's not, while not part of the DCEU, it did reinvent the Batman in a certain image, and it worked well. Wonder Woman did fairly well, fairly good as an origin film, very similar to Thor in Captain America's setting. Basically, it was basically Thor in a World War I setting, but female, and that's nothing wrong with that. It was great in that sense. But when you put it on a scale and compare it to all the other the comic book movies that have already been out and that will be coming out, I think we're gonna start forgetting about Wonder Woman in time. And a question after you get through everybody else, a question I wanted to ask the rest of you is: how many of you would actually want to see another Wonder Woman 2 standalone, no Justice League involved, just another Wonder Woman story? Because I've gotten mixed responses on that one.
Yeah, I think me and you might be on the same page, actually. And actually, I'm terrified about the Justice League. Like, the reason why I think Man of Steel and Wonder Woman were so good, in my opinion, is that they were just focusing on just one person. I feel like when they try to focus, at least so far, on a mass amount of people, they just drop everything and dishes crash and everything. So, I mean, I hope I'm wrong with Justice League, but skeptical. But Keaton, your thoughts, your score of the film, and why?
If I had to put it on a 10 scale, I'd probably go with a 8 out of 10, and that's going on. That's giving DC a huge gold star for its improvement, because it seems like Wonder Woman, they finally figured out what to do the second half of one of their movies. Like, it seemed like going everything since Man of Steel, like you would watch the first half and be like, okay, and then they just do something extremely weird or off the bat that just doesn't make sense. It seemed like in this one, I feel like I'm giving them a lot of credit just for sticking the landing.
Yep.
I feel like I'm giving them a lot of credit. I agree that I think as far as all comic book movies go, it's pretty average. But as far as an origin story for Wonder Woman, I thought it was very well done. I'm really interested in seeing where they go with it, because they gave us an origin story 100 years ahead of time. And I mean, I know it kind of worked with Captain America, but I'm hoping they do something different with Wonder Woman. And that brings me back to the question of a standalone sequel, which I'll save for later. But yeah, I gave them an 8 just because I was finally happy that they stuck the landing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually thought the film was going to be way, way worse than what we got. So I was glad that was wrong. But Sam, what about you?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like just so happy that, everybody enjoyed it and I enjoyed it at the same time. Initially, I kind of gave it like a really higher rating than what I was going to. Then I came out with more critic retrospective review, essentially, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. The reasons why the things that I picked out were nitpicks. You know what I'm saying? This is a comic book film. At the end of the day, this is for everybody. It's not just for me as a comic book nerd. This is for the general audience. This is for the future generation. What did they perceive from it? What did they get from it? Was this a movie that, they kind of did it and just half did it, or they messed up on it? They really didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was scripted pretty well. It was done pretty well. I actually really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the score of it. And from my perception as a critic, I actually really enjoyed it. That's the reason why I left it at a 9 out of 10. The thing that I kept on going back to was, like, in terms of origin stories for comic book films, what did this weigh on? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it reminded me of a hybrid between Superman 1 and Batman Begins. But it's like when I look at this versus Superman 1, I felt like they might have did this a little bit better. Now, Superman 2 is definitely a better film than Wonder Woman. But if I think about Batman Begins versus Wonder Woman, you know, I mean, I'm a Batman biased person, so I can't sit there and be like Wonder Woman is better than Batman Begins. But it was still really well done. But I could definitely say when I look at, you know, kind of what Akasan was saying, the first generation Phase 1 Marvel films, how does that line up? You know what I'm saying? Everything minus Iron Man 1, this was better than those. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was better than Captain America 1 for me. It was a way better experience than that. And I think that what Iron Man 1 did, I think that this is what this could do platforming the DCU moving forward in terms of the way that the public receives it and perceives what the DCU is capable of, what they can really do with the standalone characters and other stuff. And not just that, I think that everybody really wanted them to do standalone films to start with and not trying to put everything together so tight-knit. And I think that they did a really good job with Wonder Woman and what she's capable of. To answer Akasan's question about a sequel, the only way I feel like a sequel would work is it had to be in the confounds of the 100 years gap that we don't know about. I feel like maybe if they did like a World War II, a specific point in history that she was in, you know, like the influence of Ares is back, or, you know, something else had to have happened between that point that, okay, yeah, all right, she's deciding to be a hero. Okay, we get that. But why did she get so cynical? What happened in those 100-year gap? Like, there has to be a good story there. If they went and tried to do something moving forward after Justice League, I worry about that because it would have to be tied to other characters.
So you're saying that Wonder Woman, the current Wonder Woman movie, doesn't really do a good job of explaining why she's so cynical now?
I think that there's so much more that I don't know about her. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, when she looks at the photograph, she talks to Batman. It's like, okay, thank you for bringing him back to me. Now I understand I'm always going to fight for love. That's her dialogue. But when we see her in BVS, she's not talking to Bruce Wayne. She don't trust him. She doesn't really want to even help. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is that she lost the love of her life. She decides to do what's right, and she chooses to believe in humankind, but she knows they're evil and their capability of evil. And I feel like over the 100-year gap, I feel like there are more things that happen there. I guess that's the real thing I'm thinking about. Because I think that they do a good job of nudging it, but they leave a lot open that I feel like we just don't know as viewers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think all the topics that we run through is a good summation for the discussion. But as far as like a Wonder Woman sequel, I don't know. I kind of feel like they almost got lucky with this first Wonder Woman film. I think the plot devices were an ingenious route to go. I think the director did a really good job. However, trying to do this again, where like the critics and so many fans love the film, and for a first Wonder Woman to be so appreciated, to sort of try to do something equivalent or to succeed that or exceed that, I don't know. I would feel kind of skeptical, but I mean, as long as Patty Jenkins was directing that, I'd be down to see it. But I don't know. I feel kind of mixed about it, for real.
It's kind of funny. I'm reading an article right now where it says that Patty Jenkins, she admits that she never would have cast Gal Gadot, actually.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. So it's kind of funny. She said she probably would have cast someone. I don't know that I would have looked internationally. I would have just looked for an American girl. Wow.
Yeah, that was all Snyder's doing. Like, Snyder was the one that was kind of the backfold of that. It was weird too, because when I looked at the end of the film, the credits, like, I noticed that him and Deborah were, executive producers, but he actually wrote the story along with Alan Hinsberg. So it was like he wrote it, but the backdraft got kind of switched and changed through the script through Alan. But
you can definitely tell there were Snyder-ish. It was like Imon was saying. It was Snyder light. It was very similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movies, which were produced by Michael Bay but not directed. But many people thought he directed it because there were a lot of scenes that looked like he did it.
Yeah. Nah, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
But yeah, in terms of
And,
a sequel, though, I would say I know
Mhm.
they're already talking about Cheetah and things like that. My biggest concern is really Gal, in the fact that even though she was the main star, and I know people get upset about this, she was the main star, but she did not carry the film. I felt she didn't really carry and that being said, Chris Hemsworth, Thor, doesn't carry the films either, his own films either. He doesn't carry the Thor movies. Tom Hiddleston did, or Anthony Hopkins carries the film. And I was thinking about this with Wonder Woman. I'm like, Chris Pine kind of, if there was going to be somebody to carry the film, I guess you could say that was him, but I never really felt there was anybody that really helped hold the film together. And I really feel like if they're going to do a Cheetah angle, or you're going to have to need a very good antagonist, which means a very good villain, something that CBMs have a big problem with. You're going to need a really good villain that's going to have to put Wonder Woman through the ringer, and like you mentioned earlier, just get the end result is going to be a bit more of a cynical Diana Prince coming out of that movie. She's going to have to basically get wrecked like the way Bane wrecked Batman and TDKR, like that sort of idea.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't know. Did anyone else have any final thoughts or any thoughts about the upcoming Wonder Woman sequel that probably got greenlit like a few hours ago?
Well, honestly,
maybe.
you can go first.
I was just gonna say that I probably have to get off, but the last thing I'll say is, and I agree with Sam, I really, if they do another one, I would like it to be in some sort of something historical, because my biggest thing with Captain America was the fact that they showed him fighting back then in the old costume, and there was those old photographs, and I just looked it up with Watchmen. One of my favorite things was like the Minuteman. I don't think you can see it, but those kinds of photographs where it's like they were there in the wars, and World War I, World War II. It's kind of cool because that's that at that time people were having these this was happening, and they wanted, obviously, if a superhero existed, there would be no wars, or there wouldn't be as many deaths, you know. And so I always thought that was really cool. So I like that that theme. So I agree with Sam. If they have something like that for maybe, well, they would have to go up. I guess it would have to be a different. I don't know. They could think of something, I guess, but yeah, that's the only way I'd like to see it. I'd like to see more movies, more superhero movies like that. It just kind of like here's a glimpse of, it's kind of like seeing Bigfoot or something. But
pull a Logan or something like that.
Yeah,
not Logan, but what was it called? You guys called it the Wolverine or something like that. It was called X-Men Zero out here, but basically that first Wolverine movie where you see a Logan just running through time, basically. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I guess. I was curious. Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was gonna ask. So, some of you guys are, kind of like on the fence with like a Wonder Woman sequel, but would y'all be on the board for a Man of Steel sequel?
No.
I think I was one of the only ones that actually really appreciated Man of Steel and wanted to see what they would have progressed with that. And then I got BVS and I was accepting of it, and I like different parts about it, but I was really curious to see what they're gonna do with Superman when they bring him back after Justice League. I was curious, was anybody out here actually excited for a Man of Steel?
I mean, like, look, I get that, like, Wonder Woman is, for the most part, everyone enjoyed it, but that doesn't erase the fact that I thought that BVS and Suicide Squad weren't good. And I mean, like from the time before and right after. I mean, there's a lot of time, you know, those films, this suckage that we've been experiencing. So like Wonder Woman didn't really do a lot to sort of calm my fears about future upcoming DC films. So honestly, for any upcoming DC film, I'm still kind of hesitant. I'm like, yes, I'm glad that Wonder Woman was a win, but like that didn't just make, like, I'm still super skeptical.
Well,
So
if there was one thing I was going to add to the possible Wonder Woman sequel, I think that if they do it, the only way I would like it is it would have to be within that 100 years, because what I want to see is this extremely cynical Diana post Steve Trevor's death. Humanity is trash. I'm going to try and find Themyscira and let the world die. Like, that's kind of what I would want to see out of a sequel, because I want to see her go dark and then see her come back from it to become the Wonder Woman that we see in the later movies. And the reason I would like that because if they were to set it in the present universe, I think it would end up being the same thing that Marvel's doing, where it's like Captain America 3, Spider-Man, like where it's like you have their sequels, but at the same time, you can't have a sequel that fully focuses on that character because you have a million other things going on in this already established universe.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
yeah.
For me, as far as like, oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Really quick, Aksan, you didn't. What is your like brief consensus of Man of Steel?
Man of Steel?
Yeah.
I fell
It seems
asleep
like you-
through it. Man of War. Yeah.
It seems
And
because
actually, the nickname we called it was Man of Stale. Stale. It was whatever. It was really boring.
Oh, okay. Because that's interesting. I'm like on the polar opposite. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was.
But for me,
pretty
the
fantastic.
irony was the first half was great for me. I loved it. It was the second half of nonstop action with no plot development or character development that was the part that bored me. It was like I was playing Injustice. So that was it.
But you actually like the first, because honestly, the opening sequence on Krypton just. Man,
that was great.
That was
loved it.
Oh man, that was great. Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah.
Character stuff, everything was character development. For me, it's never really about action scenes. It's always about character development, story, music, pacing, having a character get from this point to the end. When you fill the rest, especially the third act, with nonstop action and no development, it gets boring for me. I'll play PlayStation if I want to see action.
No, I got you. I think Zack Snyder might have got triggered by how boring Superman Returns was. But Anna, I think you were gonna say something before.
Oh yeah, just in terms of like a sequel, I kind of agree with the whole thing. I'm kind of on the fence as far as Wonder Woman goes. Wonder Woman sequel, because if you think about it, this one was dealing more with the Armistice. You know, the end you see all of the Union Jacks and everything. But then if you go back to like even the TV show, because I watched TV show with Linda Carter, and you know it's more kind of the America, because she comes to America, and so if they were going to World War II, going into that and seeing her become more jaded, kind of agreeing with that theme of seeing where she becomes more jaded with another war, and why can't these, you know, World War I's over, why can't these humans get their crap together? And World War II happens. And then, you know, she's there with then America and another country, and she's helping these humans. And just, yeah, kind of the coming up to that 100 years of, you know, every several years, humans get themselves into another conflict, and Wonder Woman comes in to help. But with that, she gets, yeah, Francesca, be quiet. With that, she gets more scars. With that, she gets more jaded. And so that, again, that I agree. It's the only way that I would kind of, where I could also see a sequel. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of, DC is already kind of established themselves as kind of being shaky on, okay, we're gonna do this movie. Then we're going to do this one. But then we're going to do an origin. But then we're going to do this and this. As where Marvel's been like, okay, we're going to introduce you to these characters. Then we're going to bring them together. Then we might do an individual film for this one. But then we're going to bring them together again. And it's kind of got an order to it. Where DC's just like, bam, 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 bam. So I feel like it would have to make sense in the whole JLA for her to have a sequel film, but it would have to kind of be one that explained her more as to the Diana that we're meeting in the present time, who's just like, I'm done with all of this crap. So yeah, that's where I kind of stand on it. In my hodgepodge of trying to have a thought while yelling at my children.
Gotcha.
That's my life. That's my life.
I think I don't know. I don't know if anyone has anything else. I think that's all I've got swimming around in my mind in regards to the into the film.
No, just I guess wrapping up, I would just say I'm glad that most people enjoyed it. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as other people are raving about it, but I think also once that like all DC movies, once the hype sort of dies down a little bit, people will be thinking a little more sensibly and be like, it was a good movie. Not great, but it was good. Great for some people, great for my buddy DC son. I can't even talk to him right now about this movie because he will just get so upset if I say anything remotely critiquing about it. But it's great for him because he finally got to see this movie happen the same way I enjoyed Suicide Squad, just for the pure sake that I got to see a fairly damn good representation of Harley Quinn and Deadshot and other people, Killer Croc, because I'm a Gothamite. I like that. So I like the fact that Gotham was heavily focused in this. I'm glad to see that things are really good, and I'm glad to see that comic fans put aside their differences, hopefully for the most part, and just enjoy the fact that we have a female lead, a female superhero movie. It's doing really well, and I hope that we will continue something like that. And I certainly hope that, for the love of God, please tell these people that are involved in DC films to stop low-key throwing shade at Marvel movies, because that just doesn't help. I'm referring to the Chris Pine incident. And all I can think of in the words of the Joker from Batman 1989 is, I'm glad you're dead. So
DC still got a long way to go, in my opinion. Good job.
I don't understand why do you, like, it's so obviously, like, I have a feeling that he got passed up on a role, and I was reading another article that he was mad. He wanted to remind people that he's not Chris Hemsworth and he's not Chris Evans, because he was saying that people get him confused. I'm like, whatever. I think he's mad about something with Marvel. He lost out on a role or whatever, and he just decided to throw shade at Infinity War. And I'm just like, can people just stop talking shit about Marvel movies? If I'm glad Wonder Woman did well, but could you imagine, just like BVS, Zack Snyder talking shit about Ant-Man, just like Suicide Squad, the director saying, fuck Marvel. Well, fuck your movie. Yeah, but like, please just stop. Like, you respect it, put out your own thing, and let the people decide. No,
I 100% agree, because like Marvel has literally been slaying it since 2008 now, cinematically speaking. So like, I mean, there's been missteps, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, they've been.
Let me put it this way: if this movie was called Miss Marvel instead of Wonder Woman, same sort of screenplay, this would have been this would have been considered. And I'm 100%. If this would have been considered Marvel's worst movie in a long time, okay? The fact that it's a DCEU movie, loved it. No, people would have loved it, but people would have been like, "Ooh, Marvel is falling off. Shit, this wasn't as good as the other Marvel movies."
One thing I do want to say is that I think that Marvel in its early stages was doing a better job than what DC is doing at the current time.
Okay, I will give you
for
that.
me personally. Yeah, that's what I mean more so, because honestly, I didn't really warm up to the MCU until like we got towards like Guardians and Winter Soldier. But yeah, I think with the first 3 or 4 movies, Marvel did a better job than what's happening here with DC so far, for me anyway.
Cool.
First 3 films, but
I'm not gonna get into the triggered moment. I will say this, that DC now, what is it? This is their 4th or 5th film, right? It's the 5th.
What, DC? This is
DC?
technically
Their
their
third?
4th.
This is their 4th. This is only
Yeah.
their 4th.
Now it's still BVS, Suicide Squad.
they've
Yes.
got-
oh yeah,
They've got so much ground they still have to cover. I think this is a great recovery for them from the public perception. There are some DC advocates out there that loved, Man of Steel, that love BVS, that dislike Suicide Squad unanimously, most people. But I think that this is a great recovery. I think that there's been shade thrown on both sides. Like, there was one live stream I was in, bruh, man, they went in so hard for 2 or 3 hours just throwing shade. I was just like, you're coming out with stuff, this is hateful. Like, this is not beneficial to the comic book genre in general. So I think that everybody just needs to kind of calm down and see where they're going to go with things. It's like some people are kind of getting upset with Spider-Man because they're talking about the trailers they're showing to us, and which they are. But like, let's wait and see if the movie's going to be good. Let's wait and see how Infinity War is going to do. Wait and see how Captain Marvel is going to do. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, for Wonder Woman to be a win, that helps everybody in the general consensus of everything.
It's going to open the doors. People are going to be more accepting of Miss Marvel, that movie coming out.
Exactly. Like, this is a step up for both brands, but it's like you got those trolls out there. It's just like, just hate on something before they even know if the movie's there. Like, you start hating on something before the movie's come out. And I hate that. I hate being triggered from stuff like that because it takes me out of enjoying what I want to enjoy. You know what I'm trying to say? So I don't want to go there because I've been on both sides of it. I've been an advocate for some stuff on Fox's side, advocate of stuff on Marvel's side and DC side. All I know is I want these movies to succeed the best of their abilities. The first movie I ever saw was 1989 Batman. You know what I'm saying? So I am a long-term superhero genre fan. So I'm always going to have whatever the genre's back is, no matter what it is. But this has been great. I just want to say this. Everything that we've talked about today has been amazing. Thanks for Anna for showing up. Thanks for Amon. Shout out to both of their channels. You can go to the description bar below. Definitely subscribe to them because they had to leave early. But this has been amazing, part 2. I didn't think it was going to be better than part 1, but this low-key might be better than part 1. So, yeah.
Yeah, this has definitely been an amazing discussion. Everyone who was involved here, you'll find their information in the description box and the comment section down below. And yeah, I got to head out soon too because there's a little thing called the leftovers, which I still got to see how that concludes. Which about an hour ago. Negative, but no, that series finale I got to catch real quick.
It was great to meet you guys. It was awesome. I had a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same.
Definitely.
Yeah, but
hopping in, bro. That was like off the cut, but dude, it's been awesome actually meeting you. It's actually really awesome.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that Akasan was coming in, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that was crazy. I've seen so many of your videos, kind of insane. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and obviously subscribe to these people as well. And I think that's it. We're pulling out, clocking out.
Sounds good, guys. It was a pleasure, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you for joining as well, guys. Make sure, yes, subscribe to all these people, and you can see some great reactions, commentary, and all that stuff. And of course, I'm doing exactly what you're doing, but just a little above average.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe to my channel as well, and check us out for gameplay and what have you not. And yeah, fellas, let's do it one more time, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Most definitely.